Welcome, students, to the session on principles of plant layout. Before we draw a design of plant or before we decide upon plant layout, this has to be designed or this has to be drawn upon certain principles to be followed with respect to the plant layout designing. Let's study what are the principles to be followed in terms of plant layout designing. Principle of minimum travel. According to this principle of plant layout, the traveling of materials and men in the production process has to be minimized in order to achieve or in order to avoid the wastage of labor and time and to minimize the cost of materials handling in order to achieve a minimum cost per unit of production. Principle of sequence. See here in this, according to this principle, machinery and operations should be arranged in a sequential order in order to avoid unnecessary time consumption in terms of production process. This will help us to reduce the production cycle to achieve the production process. So arranging the production operations in a sequential way will help us to produce a large number of volume of production with the less production cycle is referred the time consumed in converting inputs into an final goods. Principle of usage. So according to the principle of usage, it has to be, every foot or every available space should be used efficiently or utilized efficiently. One should take into an account the availability of the three-dimensional space. The principle should receive the top consideration in top cities, in towns and cities where the land is costly. So nowadays we see the costs with respect to the lands are quite expensive. So whatever the land we have or whatever the space is available, it needs to be utilized efficiently in order to achieve the high production or productivity. Principle of compactness. So now the plant layout should be an harmonious fusion of all the relevant factors so that final layout looks well integrated and compact. So it doesn't mean that whatever the organizing, the placing up the equipment and making it, everything, the organization of the plant, the arrangement of the amenities or the elements in production layout or say plant layout, it should be in at the end of design or at the end of the arrangements. The principle says or explains that at the end it should be, it should look as an integrated and compact layout. So principle of safety and satisfaction. The layout should contain built-in provisions for the safety of workmen. It should also be planned on the basis of the comfort and the convenience of the workmen so that they feel satisfied. So the principle here is the safety of employees and the satisfaction of employees has to be considered in terms of establishing plant layout. Principle of flexibility. The layout should permit revisions and with the least difficulty and at the minimum cost. So here, according to this principle, whatever the design we have in terms of plant layout, that should be quite flexible with minimum cost, where as and when required or as and when it is appropriate to change in the duration or in the lifespan of business unit. So any business unit or any manufacturing unit in that duration or in the lifespan would like to change the pattern or the design of layout, the design what the existing or what the current is planning, it should be flexible enough to moderate or to make the changes at minimum cost. Principle of minimum investment. So here, the layout should result in savings in fixed capital investments, not by avoiding installation of the necessary not by avoiding the installation of the necessary facilities, but any intensive use of available facilities. Simple here is, it need to focus in terms of minimum investment with respect to the plant layout designing, but not avoiding the necessary amenities, but avoiding the unnecessary investments in terms of plant layout. So this was all about certain principles. Based on that, the plant layout has to be designed.